The scholarly intent is really to kind of generate discourse, I think, academically, but also to create discourse on that broader level.
This really gives me this opportunity to link my knowledge of the past with the most imperative conversations that we should be having today.
There's nothing inevitable about the present. They came to be because of a particular set of circumstances. And the more we understand that, the more power we have.
People have an idea that most acts of mass violence are committed by those with mental illness, and that's just wrong.
Where do good ideas come from? We talk about the cross-pollination of ideas, and when we put our ideas out there, they actually evolve and develop. What are the mechanisms for delivery that can increase the pace at which ideas spread?
My name is Cheryl Doss. I'm a senior lecturer in economics and African studies at Yale University.
I'm an expert in building dark matter detectors,
psychopathology and pastoral care, laboratory medicine and immunology,
climate science,
addictions,
egg donation, cross-cultural psychiatry,
and microbial pathogenesis.
This case, Harris v. Quinn, is important, first of all, because home care is the fastest growing occupation in the United States, and so this affects a very large workforce. If it overturns this particular precedent from the early 1970s, this would be a vast rollback of labor rights dating back 40 years.
Many advocates pushed a policy forward for immigrant families where if the immigrant man was convicted of domestic violence perpetration, that put him at risk for deportation. And it seemed like a great policy to protect immigrant women, but in fact, what it did was it drove violence in immigrant communities further underground.
You can hold your hand out and count to 3, and 1 trillion neutrinos fly through your hand. And so understanding what makes up our universe, in fact, what permeates our universe, is something we should know. The kinds of scientific experiments that I do are at the minimum tens of millions of dollars, and at the maximum at the billion-dollar scale. And so I think about how to justify and excite the public about doing that kind of big science.
For a long time, antibiotics have been used to basically make animals gain weight, so we get cheaper meat. But what we haven't realized is that there's a tremendous cost to using those antibiotics in animals. They're the same things that we rely on in patients to treat their infections. So if an animal's already seen the antibiotic, its bacteria can figure out how to become resistant.
I think what's important for people to know is that tobacco use is still the #1 leading cause of preventable death and disability in the United States. Every year, over 400,000 people die as a result of tobacco use. And if you think of that number, that's equivalent to the entire population of Atlanta or Miami. They're dying every year from something that's completely preventable.
Based upon some ideas that were sparked by the movie 12 Years a Slave, I really wanted to explore this topic of historical trauma, so things that have happened generations ago in terms of traumatic events like slavery that really impact health and well-being many generations later.
I had a conversation with a publisher about this book manuscript I'm working on this topic, and again I just felt like I could have a much better conversation with him about how to make this book accessible to this kind of broad audience that I hope for, thanks to all of the work we've been doing together.
I was on NPR at Marketplace talking about what is now a hot topic of the Affordable Care Act and engaging those that are incarcerated to get on Medicaid. And from that, I also was on CNN, and then from that have become kind of more of a media source for this issue.
I was so excited to become somebody who contributed to public debate that I never really thought that I would be in a position of like picking and choosing how much I wanted to contribute to public debate.
And then I just kept seeing like there's more and more comments, and then the piece got retweeted and it got retweeted again.
It's not just about what we accomplish, it's about what we leave others, what we leave the world when we haven't been here for a few years, for hundreds of years.
To be in a room like this one with 20 astonishing Yale scholars is nothing short of awe-inspiring.
Having the time and the space to create new ideas and new knowledge is an incredible gift, and everybody ought to spend some time thinking about who they share that gift with.
It's provoked really profound questions about who we are as academics and our identity and career choices that we would never have had in any other forum. It's been wonderful.